Good afternoon, everyone. This is Hillary Donnell, and this is the Exeter Weekly Report. First up this week, we have a message from Town Manager Russ Dean about the upcoming opening of the town office building.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Russ Dean. I'm the town manager for the town of Exeter, and I want to talk with everybody today about some of the things that we're working on relative to opening up our town offices on July 6th to the general public. One of the things that we are certainly looking to do is continue to prevent the spread of COVID-19 as much as we can and do our part. And we think it's a collective responsibility that we all have. So we're going to be asking some things of the public that we wouldn't normally ask, but of course in the pandemic situation, things are a little different these days. So we just wanted to show you some of the things throughout the office that you can expect when the offices reopen on July 6th. And we ask for your patience and help in supporting what we're trying to do. So one of the things you'll notice in the building as you walk around is the existence of barriers, physical barriers that will be here in the wheelwright room where we are located, and also in the town clerk's lobby area, which you'll see a little later on, and also in different parts of the building. And the reason we're doing this is to obviously encourage space and social distancing between our staff and members of the public. Our goal is to make sure that we have people protected as much as we can, and we would ask the public to participate in that process. One of the other things that we need to talk about is online services. And as much as the public is going to be allowed into the building, what we are advocating for is that the public continue to use as much as possible online services and appointments with our town offices. And we have a comprehensive list of phone numbers available on our website that you can access and call ahead to make an appointment with the various offices within the building. That way we can be prepared to meet with you, and it will be much more efficient in terms of trying to control the volume of people within the building, again, all with the idea of stopping the spread of COVID-19 and being as safe as we can. So we appreciate you working hard to continue to use those kinds of services that we can offer through the town. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to see when you come into the town offices is the sign, the COVID-19 warning sign, and we actually have two that are set up in the vestibule. This is the main one, and you can see that there are four key things that we're talking about relative to the town office building. First is only 6 customers are allowed in the main lobby at one time. That's the town clerk and the tax collector's area. And again, we're trying to promote that in order to promote social distancing and physical distancing in a space that's actually pretty small. Second is we're asking people to please wear a mask when inside the building. Because we are inside and we realize that being inside is a different element than being outside with a mask, we're asking people to really wear masks to limit the spread as much as we can of COVID-19 and make us feel comfortable while we're serving you. And we will have masks available in the building to be able to give the general public. So if you don't have a mask, you can come in and one of our staff will be happy to help you with that, and that way you'll have a mask. And if you don't want to take it with you, you can leave it in the disposable place with us here. So that's those are the masks. Next, we're asking people to please use hand sanitizer. So when you come into the town office, we have stations around the building that have hand sanitizer, and we're encouraging people to use hand sanitizer as much as possible. And then next is number 4, part of the core of preventing the spread of COVID-19, and that's please practice social distancing. So we're actually asking people as much as they can within our building to practice social distancing. And we think if we do that together and we put an emphasis on it together, then we'll be as safe as possible in the building while we try to meet your needs as much as possible. So behind me you can see this is the Novak room, which typically would be our public meeting space when we have physical meetings in the building. And during the COVID-19 pandemic and our building opening, we'll be planning on using the Novak room to help our departments meet with you individually in a physically spaced environment. So the Novak room will be set up with 3 tables, and you'll be able to meet with our staff in there. And again, what we would ask is that people are wearing masks, and you can expect the staff to be wearing masks as well. So in closing, I'd just like to thank everybody on our staff within the town offices that has done such a great job in preparing the public, for the public to come back into the building. And I will say that as your town manager, it's a privilege to be part of this process and to help stop the spread of COVID-19. And we look forward to working with everybody to make it a success. So thank you.
Last week, Parks and Recreation Director Greg Pizon won the Exeter Chamber Chairperson Award, so let's check that out.
To thank the Exeter Area Chamber of Commerce for selecting me as the Chairperson's Award winner this year for 2020. Very humbling. I never entered the Parks and Recreation field for awards and accolades. That is something I do with a passion. I feel that community is better with Parks and Recreation, and our partnerships make the community even stronger. From the Chamber of Commerce, the team, to the American Independence Museum, and many other organizations, it is humbling that with us together, we make a better community. And with that, I only thank those that are willing to help us, the volunteers. The volunteers are what really make any programming possible. Special events would be hard to do without their help and assistance. And improving quality of life is my main goal and our department's goal. Without my great staff, I wouldn't be able to do all of these things. So again, I am humbled and thank you very much, as I wish that everyone could win this because there's so many great community leaders out there.
Next up, we have Animal Control Officer Julia Doan to tell you about how to be a good neighbor to our animal friends.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm the Animal Control Officer for Exeter. I started here in December, so I've been here for about 6 months. Today we're going to talk about wildlife and how to be a good neighbor with your wildlife friends. One concern that we've had a lot of calls about is foxes. For fox in the spring, it's really normal for them to be out during the day taking care of their young. As they start to get older, you'll see them be a little bit more independent out of their den and try and hunt on their own. So right now, where we're almost into July, we're seeing some of those younger kits be more independent and try to hunt on their own. By September or fall time, they usually are independent and they're off and away back to where they normally are, closer to where the woods are and that sort of thing. But for now, it's pretty normal for them to be out in residential areas, trying to get a feel for what it's like out in the real world. Another concern that we have had calls about are turtles. For this season, turtles will be crossing roads, trying to look for a place to lay their eggs. It's really important that for any wild animal, we don't relocate them because it can cause more damage than good. So it's really important to make sure that if you are moving a turtle out of the road, that you pay attention to what direction they're moving in and maybe help them along on their own. Otherwise, the best rule of thumb to go by when you're talking about wildlife is to leave them be. Even when we think that there might be something wrong, it's better to ask than try and intervene, and asking a professional is going to be your best bet. So you can always call animal control or another wildlife professional like a rehabber or Fish and Game, or any of those resources would be happy to help you. Trapping wildlife is definitely not something that we want to do, just because it can again be more harm than good when it comes to taking care of our wildlife neighbors. We have a problem with a nuisance animal. There's a lot of humane ways to sort of get them to move along on their own rather than trapping them and relocating them or hurting them. So if you are interested in any more resources around that, then we're happy to tell you some tips and tricks on how to help you get rid of those more pesky animals from your backyards or from your homes. One big thing about making sure that you're kind of keeping those animals out of your space is keeping garbage cans closed, making sure that your bird feeders are away from your house, or maybe you don't have a bird feeder because there's too much issue with skunks or raccoons or possums or things like that, and making sure that you're keeping your pets supervised when they're out in your yard, even if it's fenced in. Children should be supervised when they're outside, and always keep your dog on a leash. That's going to be the best way to keep everybody happy and healthy and safe from one another, and also live harmoniously with our wildlife neighbors. If you need to contact me, my email address is jdoane@exeternh.gov. And if you have any questions or concerns, I'm happy to guide you in the right direction as far as what resources to look up more information.
On Wednesday morning, traffic stopped downtown as the fire department responded to a call on Water Street. We spoke with Assistant Fire Chief Pizon about what happened.
So we were called yesterday morning for a fire alarm activation at 196 Water Street, and companies arrived on scene to find an active water leak coming through the ceiling of Stillwell's ice cream shop. The water was significant enough that it had already brought down some ceiling tiles, and believe it or not, it was found to only be a small water line going to somebody's ice cube maker in a freezer. And unfortunately, the person had been traveling and was not home, and had been leaking for probably some extended period of time. We're guessing since Stillwell's had closed the night prior at some point. So we were able to quickly find the source of the water issue. The water was shut off. Of course, we try to mitigate as much as possible. Our guys downstairs in Stillwell's put out salvage covers, covered up what they could for anything that was paper related or that could be damaged by water. They actively cleaned all the water out of Stillwell's. They were able to push most of that with squeegees in the street because it was first floor. Second floor, not quite as easy. There was, unfortunately, a newly refinished floor, hardwood floor in place. But we do carry there a backpack version of a wetback, and they were worn, and our guys went up and quickly picked up the standing water. And it was, we were still there for quite a while trying to mitigate and take care of, try to salvage what we could. But at the end of the day, I stopped in Stillwell's this morning. Their ceiling tiles have been replaced. They had an unfortunate catastrophic event to their HVAC system, so they don't have any air conditioning. But the tiles are back in place, the water upstairs has been secured, and everything turned out pretty good. Yesterday's call came in via a fire alarm activation. Is how we received that call, because as the water penetrated through the ceiling, it actually entered one of the smoke detectors. So we were fortunate because Stillwell's wasn't due to open for a couple more hours. So we were able to get in there earlier and mitigate that problem. And the fire department we have an all hazards approach. We do not just fight fires and treat people for on the ambulance or the EMS calls. We deal with flooded basements, we deal with down power lines. We're all hazards, so we'll do below grade rescues, we'll do high angle rescues. But sometimes people don't know who to call. And I think that the first call, if you're unsure and you feel like you're having an emergency, regardless of what the matter is, I think calling the fire department is always appropriate. Whether we're the right agency to be contacted or not, we will help facilitate making connections to those appropriate areas where somebody should be calling. And that's something we do on a regular basis. Yeah, we're not just here to fight fires and to roll the ambulance out of here. We're here to help regardless of what the emergency might be.
Thank you guys for watching. We're wishing you a happy 4th of July, and here's your 4-day forecast. I'm Hillary Donnell, and this is the Exeter Weekly Report.
Friday will be cloudy with a high of 72 degrees and a low of 59 degrees. Saturday will be partly cloudy with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 60 degrees. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a high of 82 degrees and a low of 63 degrees. Monday will also be partly cloudy with a high of 80 degrees and a low of 60 degrees.